Today, we're talking about integrating different personality systems and getting what you need out of them so that you can fix your life or fix whatever issues you're dealing with so you can meet whatever challenges you're facing and increase your consciousness, grow as a person, improve your life. So the problem is that it can be difficult to develop a deep knowledge of yourself from one particular system. One system might be missing crucial components offered in other systems, but of course, sometimes one system is enough for you, especially given whatever problems you're dealing with. There is a constant struggle between depth, going deeper in one system, versus breadth, which is venturing out to learn another system. So we're basically going to cover these two things, right? So how does Habib view different personality systems? I'm going to cover each one a little bit. And then we're also going to cover how and why might you integrate any particular system. Kind of just like what should you be looking for when you're trying to integrate a system, and then how should that help you? How will you know you got what you needed out of it? So yeah, my history with objective personality is, yeah, I've been typing for 5 years now almost. And yeah, so my typing record's there, and at least as far as the community members go, let's just say somewhere in the top 10. There it shows second, but really it's there are at least like 10 people, if not more, people who are pretty solid at typing with like a 70, 75%, maybe even 80% average coins correct. That's out of 10, even though there's really 9, but it's all good. But anyway, the point is that I've been doing objective personality typing for a long time, relative to some other people who are learning the system. And yeah, of course, Dave and Chan know how to type the most, but yeah, anyway, looking at other systems for the big picture, right? So if you're only looking at objective personality, and actually something that I went through is I didn't actually learn any other system. I didn't even learn MBTI really. I just went straight for objective personality. So I was kind of missing a bigger view of what is going on in the personality space in the first place, right? Because I had my friend who just introduced me to objective personality, and I was like, whoa, this is really good. And but really, I poke my head out and I'm like, wow, these other systems are quite good. These other personality works, fields of research and work is quite good. Now, what objective personality does quite well is it has a scientific process. We'll get into that, but it's good to get a bigger, broader view of things, right? You want to get a lay of the land, right? Before you dig yourself really deep into one particular hole, it's good to see the bigger picture. What are some of these other personality systems missing? Like, why is objective personality a worthy system of looking into deeply? And unless you actually look at what else is out there, you're not really going to see where objective personality fits. So the first personality system really started around 400 BC. Now, I don't really know the dates, of course, right? But this actually ended up leading to the social types which we have in objective personality, right? You'd have your number one over here on the top left. Number two is going to be the yellow. Number three is going to be the green. And the other one is number four. The ones and twos are extroverted. The threes and fours are introverted. And the twos and fours are people oriented. And I'm not sure about the word task, but yeah, the ones and threes are on this side. But yeah, that's the four temperaments. The pro is that it's actually tracking something, and it's has a really long history. So that, gives you some, that can give you some confidence that, hey, people have been looking at personality systems for a long time, and they've actually been using it to treat health conditions. So that's an interesting thing to kind of think about. I don't actually think about how, personality could help me treat my own health conditions, right? Like, well, I do think people of my type do have like weight issues, for example, right? I'm double masculine, SE first, right? Double activated, right? There's double activated consume. This is a tough thing, right? So yeah, I don't give myself that hard of a time now, but I did for a long time, and I'm gonna, deal with it. But it's genetics, right? There's a real issue. I mean, but it's good to know that it is coming from genetics. It's not like I'm some, you know, double feminine play last that's gaining a lot of weight. There's some, yeah. I don't want to muddy the waters there, but basically, yeah, certain types are going to have certain inclinations of having certain health conditions, right? But that's a hard thing to say definitively. Now I'm just saying that those are the trends I'm seeing. But anyway, that's something to look into, right? So this is, I'm a generalist, right? As a number one. So the way that I learn things is looking at broad view spectrum of different fields and different ideas. And I'm not really looking at a research paper and basing everything off of that. I'm kind of, looking at things broadly and possibilities. And I don't really know, I'm not speaking like a scientist here, some things I will be, and there you'll have actual numbers, like when I showed you the data and the stats, right? But anyway, so another system, really, it's not a system, but it can be, Jungian typology or Jungian psychology. Carl Jung has a long history of, being studied. People study him in all kinds of ways, and his work has a lot of depth. I can't do it any justice. But yeah, he's known for things like archetypes and personality types, and he's influenced fields beyond psychology. Here, the quote says, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." So that's pretty cool, right? Carl Jung, he is basically the grandfather of op in a way, or the great grandfather, you know, because it's Jung, and then we'll see next. I'm going to show Myers Briggs, and then after Myers Briggs, from the 16 personality types, we ended up getting to the 512 in objective personality. Carl Jung is basically like the great grandpa of objective personality, which is good to know. I mean, I don't know how many other people are studying objective personality like me without actually looking into Jung or looking into MBTI that much. Speaking of which, that's the next slide, which is Myers Briggs. We've seen these 16 personalities. You can go to 16personalities.com or whatever that website is to check out the different Myers Briggs types, which does actually have a depth in the terms of profiles and people being able to learn the system easily, because it is quite simple, right? And there's some elegance in that simplicity, and it describes these core personality types really well. At least, you could argue that it doesn't, but in my opinion, it's actually quite good. It at least gives you a starting point. So the 16 personalities basically is a starting point to understanding that there are different types of people, right? Which is basically what personality types are about. Like, it's good to know if you're dealing with like an ESFP or an ENFP versus an ISTJ or an INTJ, right? They're going to be pretty different people, but you can at least make some different decisions based on whether someone has more like ADHD or someone has more OCD, whatever that situation might look like. And yeah, I mean, it gives you a little bit of a quick hit of efficiency, effectiveness in dealing with people, and getting kind of like the 80/20 of how quick can I get some insights about this person's personality and actually make better decisions. How can I actually make better decisions in dealing with them, right? Because people are crazy, and dealing with them is insane. The only thing crazier than a crazy person is in dealing with them. So I like that with MBTI, you only have 16 types, so you're not overcomplicating anything. You're taking these 16 types, and it is oversimplifying to a fault potentially, but you have something to start with. And I think that is kind of the main takeaway of why you're studying personality in the first place, is you want to get some benefit, understand at least from a core perspective what the hell's going on with me, what's going on with this other person, and how can I bridge the gap so that my life isn't shitty, right? So, anyway, the next system here is objective personality, aka OP, which is more specific than MBTI with 512 types. Yes, there's 2048 with social types, but depending how you look at it, the four temperaments is basically the social types, but whatever. And I think on the website it talks mostly in terms of the 512 types, and do they really want to own the 2048 or not? But at the end of the day, objective personality, what it does well is it offers a scientific process for validating the type, verifying the type, for making sure that people understand that you really do have this type, and we can check it. We can type you, we can go in different rooms, or really The way it's been working out with the community typing is people all across the world are typing from wherever they're sitting, and we're getting the same type for whether it's celebrities or community members or just people getting typed. We are able to come to a similar conclusion just by watching a video of someone and seeing what they say, how they say it, tracking the savior and demon states, tracking the positive and the negative. So objective personality is very trackable and it is very innovative in that sense. This is definitely a good system to look at, and it's a good system to go deep in. But yes, there are other systems, and we're going to keep going. One of the other systems I'm actually looking at more recently is Enneagram. Looking at the Enneagram, what I like about this is that it helps you identify different life paths as well as discussing sins or broad negative patterns. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I do know there's a lot of depth here in a variety of ways. There are so many different Enneagram teachers out there. So this has had a long history of being taught. So you can find a lot of resources on this. So I got typed recently by the Enneagrammer team. Shout out to Enneagrammer and Emeka, because I had a coaching session with him. And yeah, I got a lot out of it. It's good to learn my type. I'm going to probably make a separate video about that. Yeah, it's interesting to see some overlaps between Enneagram and objective personality, but largely I do believe that there are different systems, and it's there's a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn, and I'm only at the beginning stages of learning what's going on. But I mean, I've looked at it passively enough to know that it's a real thing. And yeah, I mean, it's the difference is that they're using basically like a trinary coin versus the binary coin of op. So rather than there being one or two possibilities, it goes to one, two, and three. Like as you see here, there's the gut, head, and the heart. And so that's already three. And so there's a lot of threes basically in this particular system. But yeah, it can definitely broaden your view on life and your own personality and your life path or purpose and how things have been going for you. Those insights can be really important. So it's good to kind of like poke your head out of the sand and look at some of these other systems. Continuing on here, another one that really helped me poke my head out and look at what else is out there is spiral dynamics. It's really easy to understand, in my opinion, and it's accessible to everyone because you're not pigeonholed into this one type. You're able to kind of like integrate the way Maslow's hierarchy works. You're able to regulate yourself, you're able to reach higher levels of the spiral without like, it's not exclusive in that way, but it still takes a lot of work to understand it, to embody it, and to practice whatever it's preaching or whatever it's trying to teach you. It still takes work to practice whatever it's trying to teach you. But yeah, I believe that spiral dynamics has a lot of breadth, which is much needed across these personality systems, which can be hyper individualistic. I think spiral dynamics looks more at a society level and potentially, even judging countries and states or communities at large. So you're able to really understand the culture of a particular group and whether it's more like orange or blue or green. Yeah, so that's going to have its own set of implications. Yeah, I highly recommend people look into this. You could even learn as much as you need to in a week or so to get like some benefit out of it. Yeah, that's kind of the point of me making this video, is that I do believe that people who are only learning one system should at least poke their head out and look a little bit as to what is going on in these other systems. What are these people talking about? So here I'm talking about depth versus breadth. It's something to keep in mind, right? So I've gone very deep into objective personality. I know a lot about that system. I'm also discovering all kinds of things within objective personality. Some of them are in videos where I have the op theory extended and things like this. But it's nice to go deep, but it's also nice to go a little bit broad. I'm savior generalized, right? But it doesn't matter. The point is, I think it's nice to go broad as well. Different systems can teach you different things and give you a different perspective or lens as to how to look at life, how to look at society, how to look at personality, individuals, relationships, all kinds of things. Life path, purpose, meaning. Um, yeah. So other systems I didn't cover here, but are probably good as well is Big Five, socionics, DISC, love languages, attachment theory, etc. I'm probably left out a good amount, but um, really there are a lot of systems out there, and it depending on what you're actually going through in life. So this is about practice versus theory. What challenges are you actually facing? Because some systems might be better at handling certain situations, right, than others. There's someone who's talking about how, oh, they're using Maslow's hierarchy of needs more than OP right now, right? So sometimes you might need spiral dynamics at a given point. Maybe you are trying to climb up some different rank of something, right? Versus you're trying to figure out how to do your last animal in objective personality. Or maybe, like me, you're actually getting a lot of value out of Enneagram, where I'm finding out I'm a certain type and that's going to shape my life direction a lot more. So, practice versus theory is important because you're able to not only learn the different concepts and theories, but you're able to practice what you preach, practice what you're learning, take the concept and run with it and see, oh, this system isn't really helping me with my career advancement. So maybe you need to look at something else. Or, hey, this system isn't helping me, get into a stable relationship. So maybe there's another system out there, right? Maybe Enneagram is going to be better for that. Maybe objective personality is going to be better for that. So it's basically, I don't want anyone else to get pigeonholed. You know, I was for some time, and I'm pretty happy to have learned deeply what objective personality is about. But I also want to make this a little bit of a public service announcement where, yeah, you should kind of look at what else is out there. What is Carl Jung talking about? What is the Big Five about? What is Enneagram about? And I think it can help some of you, um, at least, at least it helped me, right? That's all I can really talk about. But yeah, that's at the end of the day, you want to practice whatever you're learning, right? You don't want to just get caught up in the cycle of just learning more theories, learning more concepts, and not actually letting those things help you move forward, right? Because objective personality is a binary system, and it might not be binary thinking that'll help you get out and get to the next place. You might need a different type of thinking style. Like, I believe that spiral dynamics or Maslow's hierarchy is more about hierarchical thinking, right? How can we manage different hierarchies? Yeah, so I believe this is a very important message to get out there. And so my main takeaways here, outside of what I just said, is zoom out, look at the big picture of typology. What's going on here? Take the long view, right? So, how are you doing over the long term? You might have certain short term struggles, but what are you really struggling with? What are you really struggling with for the next 2 years, 5 years, decades, right? Where are you really trying to move forward in? Is it your career? Is it relationships? Is it, money? Is it health? Is it family? Right? Chip away piece by piece at whichever systems you're looking at, right? All of these systems can go deep, right? Even your own theories, even your own ideas, right? Those things are going to take a lot of time. And you're going to have to go step by step with each and every one of these systems that you're looking at. Apply the theory, right? Because it is a little bit like use it or lose it, in the sense that you want to use what you're learning so that you're getting more learning, you're getting more perspectives on it. Because if it's just theoretical and hypothetical, then you're not actually getting the true value of it. It's like you're not eating the meat to the bone, right? You're wasting parts of the animal. You're wasting the knowledge. When you're eating a piece of meat and you eat it with the skin and the bone and the organ meats or whatever, right? You're able to really digest all the different aspects of that theory. But if you're not practicing it, then you're only really seeing it from, the display case. Not that, meat is coming in a display case, but yeah. So, yeah, practice helps you integrate personality systems. Join a community. So, this could be, on YouTube, there are different YouTubers out there, comment sections and things like that. But, you'd also like reach out to people on YouTube. Different YouTubers will have their communities and such. But even just talking, like, when I was learning Enneagram and I got a coaching session with Emeka, that was great to be able to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about, right? So a lot of times the people who are running the YouTube channels will know more about the systems they talk about than you. So it definitely, if you value your time, you would want to really just go to the experts or go to the people you like to hear from. You want to join things like Discord, Facebook, Reddit, WhatsApp, whatever is going on here. I'm not sure I need to even say this, but yeah, for people who don't know, for people who want to just chat about type, there's all kinds of communities. Maybe you're in one of these or two of these, but you're not in the other. It would be good to see what different types of conversations are happening. The way people talk in Discord is different from Facebook, is different from Reddit, so on and so forth, right? And let me know if there's some way you're communicating with people about typology that I'm not listing here. It's pretty cool to just talk to people. And yeah, sometimes there's even meetups or conferences. Well, I don't really know of that many conferences, but that's why I put someday. But there are meetups out there. Now, I'm not sure how high quality they are at times, but I've been to some good ones. Yeah, there's one that's happening in the Netherlands for objective personality, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna go this year, but basically there's a community out there of people who are learning about their own psychology, personality, and things like this. And finally, the last takeaway is to respect the community and the history. For me, I came in learning about objective personality without really looking at what else is out there. So for me to really respect what personality psychology is, I needed to take a step back and look at different things like Enneagram, MBTI more broadly, the big five or whatever else, right? There is so much out there. There are so many people specializing in different areas of personality, psychology, or any of these systems. And there's history, there's significant history behind all of these. And, people are doing therapy based on some of these systems. People are doing all kinds of work based on these systems. And so it's something that, I'm very much humbled by how much work has gone into personality typology systems. So I just want to say that I got some of those values from a place I used to work at, Roblox. Take the long view and respect the community. I thought these were very good values that, yeah, I still want to have today, even though I'm not working there anymore. But it's really good to, look at the big picture, the long view, and, adhere to that longer, adhere to a better vision of the future. And respecting the community is actually very important because you don't know where the next good ideas are going to come from. You don't know what someone's going through. You don't know how it affects the entire ecosystem by treating everyone with respect, valuing their time, valuing their energy and their voice. So, yeah, anyway, those were my main takeaways. So, happy learning and wish you well on your journey. Thank you. And last note here is to not only like and subscribe, but yeah, next week we're typing Miss Rachel. She's a YouTuber, kids education. Yep. Oh, I had that on there for that whole time, huh? So next week we're typing Miss Rachel. She's a YouTuber, kids education. All right.